Oh yes, you all welcome back to African Colonization TV and Biafran History. Today's date is 8th of March 2026. Already concerning the issue of a thing that is happening in Nigeria, this issue of Sharia or no Sharia in Nigeria. It is getting worse every day. The way the whole thing is happening. Sultan of Sokoto, he has now come out and start warning Donald Trump about this Sharia of a thing, warning him very seriously, telling him that he cannot stop them from practicing Sharia in the north. So, in fact, according to the headline, it says Nigerian versus US tension. Sultan of Sokoto warns Trump over Sharia in northern Nigeria. So, you all have seen it. So, the Sultan of Sokoto, he has now threatening Donald Trump, trying to tell him that no matter whatever he do, he will not stop them from practicing their Sharia. And this is their jihad. If you can recall, you can see how these terrorists, when they take over villages in Borno, by a lot of soldiers, and then kidnap almost 300 and something people, and then take over villages, and they take over soldiers armors and other things. And since then, for many days now, they have been controlling the villages, collecting tax, and they doing a lot of things. And if you look it very well, you will see that they are claiming that their God have given them the power to conquer and to fight and conquer. Now they are now extending their mark down to other places apart from Bruno. And if you ask them what is the essence of this, they will tell you it is jihad, it is Sharia. And they are using all those things, they are staying under Sharia to do all those evil, claiming that it is their God. In fact, a lot is happening. That is why you see Iran, the way he's trying to destroy them in Iran. That idea to conquer people, to take over the territory, and to turn people into Islam. We don't even understand the type of life and God those people have. At the end, they will tell you they are fighting for their God. In fact, try to watch the video to the end for you to see everything by yourself. Don't skip any part. As you're about to watch, like, subscribe, and make sure you share it to go around, let others see things happening in Nigeria.
Headline here. Just this morning, the Sultan of Sokoto, this is what he's saying. Nobody can stop us from practicing Sharia in Nigeria. Sultan of Sokoto warns Donald Trump. Sultan of Sokoto affirms Sharia and blasphemy laws in Nigeria. His Eminence Sa'ad Abubakar stated that the law prescribing punishment for anyone who insults the Prophet Muhammad will not be repealed. When I hear what Sultan of Sokoto they talk, that nobody say Trump no reach to stop them, the Muslim in Nigeria, from practicing Sharia law, that law will never be repealed. That means that law, Sharia law, can never be cancelled. Now waiting in the talk. All these things are based on what is happening right now in Iran. When I know say they have 100%, they have declared their solidarity with the people of Iran. On that regard, look at this particular headline here, my people. According to this headline, it says Ayatollah's death, more protests by Muslims in Yobe, calling on President Tinubu to intervene. They are saying that President Tinubu and his VP Shetima have abandoned their Muslim brothers. My people, this is what is happening right now. The Northerners, they are beginning to protest and calling on Tinubu, asking him and Shetima to intervene, that they should go and help the Iran. Imagine that right now they have abandoned their Muslim brother. Them will be Northerners. They are their Muslim brother. They do not want to listen to them and go and stand in solidarity with Iran. They should go and deploy more military, Nigeria military, to Iran to go and fight against Israel and US. My people, imagine the kind of mindset where this Northerners get. Imagine. Look at another thing, my people. Look at another headline here. See what he's saying concerning this matter. According to this headline, it says, breaking Israeli precision airstrike just hit the secret Iranian Spring Council meeting holding to select replacement for Ayatollah and other leaders assassinated by Israel. Let's continue. Happening now. Israeli forces struck an Iranian Spring Council gathering on Tuesday as the group was meeting to choose a successor to lead the regime after Ayatollah was killed on Saturday. A senior Israeli official tells the Fox News that the US and Israel killed 49 of Iran's most senior leaders in the opening stage of joining operation on Saturday morning, leaving Iran military fractures and leaderless. My people, no be small thing dey happen. No be small thing, even in a secret place where some of Iranian officials gathered, my people, to appoint another leader, as Israel and US have already killed their supreme leader, my people. And Israel sent another bomb there, my people. The whole building, shebi una see am, the pieces everywhere. No be small thing, no be small thing. Moving on to the next headline before I go allow you to watch the video. The headline here says, as long as Israel exists, no Muslim is safe. They need to be destroyed. This threat here is coming from Nigerian northern Muslim leader. He said that as long as Israel exists, that Muslims, they are not safe, that Israel need to be destroyed, my people. No be small thing, I don't know why some of these Muslims, why they are so obese with this Sharia, why they are so annoyed with what is going on in Iran. Why are they calling on everybody to come and help Iran people? Imagine the kind of threat where a northern cleric, they threaten Israel that they need to be destroyed so that Muslim will be safe. So my people, right now I go play some of the videos about what is currently happening. Please take your time and watch all of this video because so much important information there inside here. Please do not forget as you are watching to like this video and equally help me to share it. Thank you so much for doing so. May we watch the videos.
So let me ask you pointedly.
Yes.
You've scattered around it all this way. So let me ask you directly.
Yes.
You believe, sir, Dr. Bogo Beatrice, that there's a Fulanization or Islamization agenda for the whole of Nigeria?
Certainly.
You believe this?
100%. The truth about the matter is, our constitution has become a Sharia constitution, whether we like it or not. That's the truth. The 1999 constitution is a Sharia constitution. Because I mentioned in one interview, there are up to 73 mentions of Sharia in that constitution. About 28 mentions of Islam in that constitution. About 10 mentions of Muslim in that constitution. There is no mention of Christian or Christianity in that constitution. That means these Christians don't exist in this country. That is the truth. We cannot shy away from it. And the National Assembly members know this. But the problem with this country is that we have cowards in position of power who, even when they know the truth, are unable to speak out and say, gentlemen, this doesn't suit the so-called secularity of the Constitution. Our Constitution is not secular. Our Constitution is a Sharia Constitution. And that is where we have problems today, including the insurgency in the name of Sharia. So with Sharia, whether we like it or not, that's what will continue to happen, unless it is crushed. Negotiation will not work. Anybody who say non-kinetic, that is the funny terminology I've heard. Somebody who think that one, if he kills and if he dies trying to kill for his faith, he's going above to meet some beautiful facilities beyond what he gets here. It's here, it's in the mind. You can't change him through some non-kinetic something. He is out there to either kill or be killed. If somebody would voluntarily go and blow himself up just because he feels he's going to be rewarded, how do you solve the problem through some non-kinetic approach? So the issue is, this thing will not stop unless it is crushed. Now, whether you like it or not, it is not only Christians that are attacked in this process. to succeed even in changing the narrative or that Owo place, where majority of them were Muslims. Were they Fulanis? Were they Fulanis? They are not. They can sacrifice people just to change the narrative. So the agenda continues, and it will not abate unless it is crushed. Anybody who tells you that that agenda would subside through some negotiation is just deceiving you. Unless it is crushed, it will continue. Let me now digress, because I watched what the first video production by late Shekau, if he is late. Shekau said after the bombing of Gaddafi in Jos, I got the video, I still have it. He said in house, we are the ones who conducted this thing in Sultania, the place called Plateau or Jos. We did it because what you hear is not as much as what you have seen. Because our people have been killed. He mentioned Zongo Kataf and so many other places. And he said they are not fighting a political war. They are not fighting for money, but they are fighting a religious war. Then he continued, he said, it is a war between Muslims and Christians. And then he warned Muslims that any Muslim that assists an unbeliever in the war should consider himself dead. Are you getting me, sir? So if Muslims are being killed in the war, that's one reason. Two, he continued and said it will not end, as a summary, because he said some other things before that, till Islam is the determinant of governance in Nigeria. It will not end till Islam is the determinant of governance in Nigeria. So will it stop? We have not gotten there yet.
The world is by now aware of the fact that 2 days ago, the United States of America and Israel attacked the state of Iran, killed its leader and a number of very senior political and military officers, as well as a number of other citizens. In the last 40 years I was there for, with the entire region in the Middle East and neighboring countries has been aflame with fights and rockets, and the world has sat up. This event was foreseeable, and one can say, given by the precedence of President Trump and Israel, almost inevitable. Clearly, the United States had decided to effect regime change, meaning removal of the entire leadership of Iran, and maybe installing a different one, or giving a chance to the citizens of Iran to choose who will next govern them. Unfortunately, it doesn't work as neatly as leaders like Trump think. What we're likely to have is what we're beginning to see now. A lot of chaos, prolonged crisis, both within Iran and around it, and a lot of uproar around the world. We don't expect anybody in the world to challenge what America and Israel have done. They've done this before, and the way things look, they are likely to do so anytime. What this attack has done is to reinforce the perception that exists right now, that there is no world order. The world has the order of the strong, and the weak has no order, and he has no reprieve, he has no recourse to anything except to run away from the strong or to submit to the strong. We have a large population of Shia in this country, and there are millions and millions of Shia and followers of Iran all over the world. They will obviously present what had happened and take steps to see what they can do to salvage what is left of the Iranian revolution, Iranian country with Iranian leadership, and maybe to rebuild Iran. No one can say what would happen in the next few weeks. What we do know, and what we should be aware of in this country, is that America also has an interest in Nigeria. It has said so. It has already sent a bomb in our country. It says it will attack us. It says that it will encourage massive changes in the way we live with each other, largely along Muslim-Christian lines. Under Trump, nobody should take America for granted. So we are in trouble too. But this is not the kind of trouble that will just come in one day and go. Nigerians who are happy that America could go into another country, kill its leaders, or pluck them out, and embark on massive changes or hope that changes will occur, should look into the history of American involvement in other countries. So let's make a number of things very clear. Our leaders should condemn what Iran and Israel have done in Iran, and should do so very clearly and unequivocally. We do not support an activity, an action undertaken by one country against another. Two, we should demand that the international community stands up to condemn what America and Israel have done. Three, we should be very careful about the way we relate to America. If we continue on the path of disunity, and some of us are calling for America to come in and take over our country, bomb us, cage us, divide us, then we should read the history of countries that have done the same thing to America, for America, against our country. We are in danger, and we should say to the Americans, what you've done in Iran is condemnable, and Nigeria will not tolerate any more involvement of America in our affairs.
Nigeria's supreme leader, Sheikh Gumi, has finally reacted to the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And according to the Nigerian supreme leader, he said that Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran that was killed by US and Israel airstrike, was a lucky death, according to him. Let me just read out what Nigerian supreme leader said. His full statement, I want to read it out. Then I will talk one or two things what I want to talk. And I read from Daily Post. Lucky soul, he died in jihad. Sheikh Gumi react to Ali Khamenei's death. Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has reacted to the reported death of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei. Gumi described him as a lucky soul who died in jihad. In a post shared on his Facebook page on Sunday, Gumi said Khamenei died in jihad against killers of innocent children and women in Gaza and elsewhere. He added that Khamenei's blood will fuel the change in the Ummah, noting that the Iranian leader stood firmly for justice and didn't hide in bunkers. Gumi wrote, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, a lucky soul, he died in jihad against killers of innocent children and women in Gaza and elsewhere. His blood will fuel the change in the Ummah. He stood firmly for justice and didn't hide in bunkers. For those who killed him or assisted in killing him, let us see what they will live to do in this world. Daily Post reported that Khamenei, who served as Iran's supreme leader for decades, was a central figure in the country's political and religious leadership. The Iranian supreme leader died after an Israeli strike in Tehran on Saturday. When I don't hear what the Nigerian supreme leader they talk. First thing first, all these things has a religious affiliation. That's the number one thing. Secondly, he said the man died in jihad. So this Muslim jihad is what I don't truly understand. Maybe they have already declared jihad. And that is the reason why we are seeing terrorism rising here and there, mostly in Nigeria and other West African nations. So they have already declared jihad against us, unknowingly to us. And if you look at Gumi's statement, it also recomes to the point that we are at war with these Muslims terrorists fighting jihad unknowingly to us. And we are just relaxing as if nothing is happening. Do you understand now? So I'm not saying that all Muslims are violent in nature. No, you can't say that. Look, if you look at Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Dubai, yeah. And the rest of other Muslim nations like Bahrain, Jordan, and all that. So, and the problem is this radical Islamic movement headed by Iran's supreme leader. And if you look at Gumi's statement, whatever they are doing is consciously being practiced, and they have been executing it simultaneously. So it didn't start today. The truth of the matter is that Sheikh Gumi is known for this kind of statement. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. Do you understand now? Whenever they buy other people, are you getting me? It is a normal thing to them. But once you buy them, are you getting me? They will declare themselves martyred. Do you understand now? They will call themselves martyr. Are you getting me? Which means that they died in holy war. Do you understand now? Their death is holy. That is what it means. Are you getting me? But once they buy another people, no, those people are unbelievers. These are the kind of belief and these are the kind of beliefs that has been embedded in their system for a very long time. So it's only God knows when these people are going to change. But the way I'm seeing it, what will end this war is a religious war. The way I'm seeing it. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. But I believe that they should change the tide and have a rethink. Let them practice the kind of Islam that Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar is practicing for peace to reign. But if they keep on practicing this kind of Islam, it means that the same threat, which is jihad against the world, they want to fight the world and conquer everybody, let everybody join them as Muslims. That war is still on. In fact, that war has started in Africa, mostly in West Africa. And that war has been going on in Nigeria for a very long time. Anyways, Sheikh Gumi, like I said before, it is not your fault. Yeah, it is not your fault. If Nigeria is a workable nation, I don't think that you should be speaking right now. You should be in detention because you have supported and they colluded and also encouraged terrorism in Nigeria. So you don't supposed to be speaking. But here we are in Nigeria. Everything is possible. As far as you are affiliated to Muslim belief and you are from the north, I get me, you can always be excluded from any form of penalty because you are from that region. So, meanwhile, as we are talking about what is happening in Iran, we also heard about attack in Pakistan, specifically in the U.S. consulate in Karachi over the death of Iran's supreme leader. U.S. consulate in Karachi has been set on fire by Iran's supreme leader supporters. And another report stated that about 6 protesters has been killed in Karachi, Pakistan, and over 20 has been injured. You can also see the video where they were destroying U.S. embassies in Karachi. Let's see the video. You have seen the video, right? So these people are very violent in nature. So it will always make it difficult for people to believe that their religion is for peace. Yes, now I can tell you this because I don't know the reason why what is happening in Iran should be extended to other regions. This is very wrong. And very soon now, Nigerian Muslims in the north will start doing their own. They will start protesting. Definitely, they might even target other Nigerians. Do you understand now? So, it is very difficult to convince me or convince others that this is a religion of peace because of their acts. Look at what is happening.
Oh, yes. In fact, the whole thing is very, very shocking and it's very, very terrifying. According to the reports that everybody have said about them, about those people, and the report that is coming, everybody have now seen how those people are. In fact, they are not the people that anybody that is thinking right need to live beside. You don't need to live beside them. And what is happening far away, Iran, it is causing big problem in Nigeria here. That they are not even, America is not even doing anything here. And nothing that Nigeria is benefiting from Iran, but just that they are trying to cleansing Iran, and they make their states or their country to become okay, like the way it was when they have not have this Islam or something. Then somebody in Nigeria will not be protesting, saying a lot of things concerning what is happening in faraway Iran. Well, it is not their fault. It is the fault of Britain, because all those things joining people together, forcing people together in the name of one Nigeria. So it is not their fault. Sultan of Sokoto claiming that US cannot remove Sharia out of the north or out of Nigeria, and also the man who have already explained everything about this constitution. The problem of Nigeria is the constitution. It has already said it all, that they want to Fulanize or Islamize the country, and what is now remaining for them, it is for them to be detecting, for the Fulani or for the Islam to be detecting what will be happening, and they have already been doing it, because all the old governors from north to the southeast, it is only the Fulani Kakus that used to tell them, look at what you are going to be doing to your people, before they will be like what is happening in Anambra. When they come to Abuja, then the Fulani that give them position will now be telling them, look at what you'll be doing, so that we will understand that yes, you are actually doing what we want you to do. Then once they go back to the east or to the south, then they will start implementing those things. And what are they using to carry all those things? It is what is in their constitution. And all those things that is in their constitution, it is from the Sharia law. So whenever you want to speak, they will tell you that it is from the law, it is from Nigerian law, that is Nigerian constitution. And that is how it is. So nobody will come out and will tell you that Nigeria is practicing a true democracy or a true federalism of system of government. None. It is not. So, in fact, a lot is happening in Nigeria. I would like you to listen to this man who the interview. He talked a lot of things concerning their ideology, how they view the issue concerning what is happening. In fact, he talked a lot of things. Try to watch it for you to hear by yourself. It is not about them say.
On the program by Professor Dahiru Usman, Islamic law expert, Bayero University, Kano, joining us from our Kano studio. You're welcome to the program, Prof. Let's get right into it. We see what is playing out. Iran, Israel, America on that side. And it's looking more of a religious thing now with some of the pronouncements right now. We understand that there's been some sort of order now given to some Muslims in that area that now is the time for you to defend yourself. So while that is playing out, we also have our own fair share of issues. With the United States as well, the U.S. Congress recommending that Sharia law be removed from our laws in a manner of speaking. I've heard people say they never got to debate Sharia law before it was put into the Constitution, that you just had President Olusegun Obasanjo signing that Constitution, which he had not seen before, and it has become a law. And a lot of people fear that if Nigeria keeps going down this path, then we might have bigger trouble on our hands. I wonder how you weigh in on this, seeing what is also playing out between Iran, Israel, the US, but more importantly, our own bit of the story with Sharia law. I really hope Prof can hear me and it's not a delay that is taking too long. But it's important to speak to these issues and get the perspectives now of those who are concerned. So Prof, I really hope that we get the audio bit sorted so you can hear us properly and give us your perspective. But yes, the US Congress has given a recommendation, submitted it to the White House, a 2-page document, spoke to a number of things, partnering with Nigeria and all of that. But one of the bits in the recommendation is about Sharia law. And it's important to feel the pulse of leaders, even legal experts, religious leaders, those in government in northern states that operate Sharia law, to understand your thinking of this one. So, Prof, please confirm you can hear me, or you got my question.
I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead then.
Well, thank you for having me on the studio. And the takeoff point is to acknowledge the fact that the right to religion is a fundamental human right that has been acknowledged, recognized, and sanctioned by international human rights instruments. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The takeoff point, like I said, is to acknowledge and recognize the fact that the right to religion is a fundamental human right that has been recognized, sanctioned by all international human rights instruments, regional instruments, and domestic constitutions. The Sharia implementation in Nigeria did not start with the 1999 constitution. Even as far back as 1802, and as documented by scholars on Orientalists and writers on African customary systems, they have acknowledged the fact that Sharia law has been in existence. In fact, outside the Arabian Peninsula, nowhere was the Sharia applied, including the criminal law of capital offenses, like it is applicable in northern Nigeria. Now, the issue of the United States demand for the proscription of Sharia, I think it is a very serious fundamental human rights concern to the Muslims of northern Nigeria or Nigeria in general, because the rights of every human being to religion, like I said, is sanctioned, and the Muslims are not an exception. And in fact, that would in a way interfere with the domestic affairs in Nigeria of regulating religious rights. And even the United States, there are quite a number of Muslims, and the statistics are showing that one of the fastest growing religion is the religion of Islam, and the United States is very well known of religious freedom. So it is surprising that the United States will be demanding that people who have a belief, people who have a constitutional and fundamental human rights to be guided and to be regulated by their religious laws would have faraway United States coming to dictate that people would have to jettison their constitutional rights, their fundamental human rights to religion. I think that demand would never be practicable. As far as the Muslims are alive, as far as Nigerian Muslims are alive, the issue of their right to religion is non-negotiable and cannot be taken away by any system. For even the colonial masters, when they came, they tried hard to take away the Sharia, but they could not do that. So I think it is, in a way, I may say, laughable that the United States would think that the Muslims would drop their religious rights over and above the demand of the United States.
All right, Prof, let's look at it two ways. Section 10 talks about the fact that the country is not, it's a secular state by essence. So no states, the federation cannot adopt a religion. I want you to speak to that, whether this is not a contradiction. I know that section 275 up to section 279 talks about the Sharia courts and all of that. So I want you to help us understand whether it's not a contradiction that in one breath the Constitution says no state or the federation shall adopt any state religion, yet we're seeing Sharia in our Constitution. That's one question. The second question has to do with the latitude of the Sharia law itself. Now, if the argument is, let's use an example, the Deborah case in Sokoto. What was the issue? They were in a WhatsApp group, and then she made some statement that persons within the Muslim community were not comfortable with, and they considered it blasphemy, and she was killed. And the case was an embarrassment, literally, because of how it was prosecuted. I think that case was left off because of lack of diligent prosecution, because of what was even filed in the first place. People expected murder and all those kind of charges to be filed, but all kinds of things were filed, and it was a bit of an embarrassment. So the second question is the latitude. Should Sharia law have applied to somebody like Deborah, who is not a Muslim?
Well, I cannot hear you.
Should I repeat the question?
I lost. You repeat the question because I didn't get the last part.
The first question was Section 10
talks about the federation or any state will not adopt.
That is well taken.
Okay.
Yes.
The second one was the latitude of the implementation of the Sharia law itself. And I gave an example of Deborah that was killed because of blasphemy. She's a Christian. The Muslim guys in our WhatsApp group were not comfortable with what she said, and they considered it a blasphemy, and they killed her. We can talk about the court case another day. But what I'm saying, should Sharia law have applied to Deborah in this instance? Because the argument is, for some people, it's not the existence of Sharia law, it's the latitude of Sharia law beyond Muslims.
Okay. I lost the audience. I can't hear you.
Prof, go ahead and answer the one you heard first. Answer the one you heard.
Okay, you see, the issue of Section 10 of the 1999 Constitution, I think around 1999-2000, there were a lot of debates when Zamfara State started the re-implementation of the Sharia. Now, you see, the issue of Section 10. Section 10 should not be read in isolation to other provisions of the Constitution. Section 10, quite all right, stated in the substantive provision that that Nigeria, no state or the federation should adopt any religion as a state religion. But that does not mean the argument, my view, and many others hold the view that Nigeria is not a secular country. Now, the takeoff point in arguing this is, what is a secular state, and what is when can a state be said to be secular? The ordinary meaning, English meaning of secularism is to be indifferent to religion, indifferent to godly things, and no one can say that Nigeria is not a godly country, because beginning from the preamble of the Constitution, we resolved, as per the preamble of the Constitution, to live as one sovereign country under God. And then the Constitution, like all international human rights instruments under Section 38, sanction the right to religion, thought, and conscience. You have the right to practice your religion either in public or private. And then going down, like you rightly said, there are religious institutions that have been established by the Constitution, like the Sharia Court of Appeal, like the other aspect of the religion that is in the Constitution. And we know that the practice and the tradition in Nigeria is that the federal government, the state governments, do also sponsor religious pilgrimage, which is a religious thing, which is an indication that there is a religion, that the government recognizes a religion. And then it is obvious and it is known that any political office holder is asked to swear by the scripture he believes when he's taken out of office and out of allegiance. We have religious holidays that have been observed in Nigeria, and a host of other things that really will tell you that those who argue that Nigeria is secular do not really understand the meaning of being secular. For to be secular is to be unreligious, is to have no business with God or any religious affair. And no one can tell me that Nigeria and Nigerians are secular people who have no business with religion. And there are so many other, even the common law as we apply it is also not a secular law. It is a religious law because it traces its origin from a religion. The authorities are clear. In the United Kingdom in 1962, in the appeal cases, there is a Bowman against secular state, where the origin and the connection of the common law, which is largely applicable law in Nigeria based on our common law orientation, is also a religious law. So my argument and my take from the prescriptions and the provisions in the Constitution, it is wrong to call Nigeria a secular state just by looking at the marginal note of Section 10. You know, the content, the substantive provision are that no state or federal government should today wake up and say that the only applicable law is, for example, Sharia law or a Christian law. No state or federal government can do that. That is the intendment of Section 10 of the 1999 Constitution. The marginal note that said secular, I think does not, because throughout the reading of the 1999 Constitution, you would never find anywhere where Nigeria is called or declared to be a secular state. And for you to call a country a secular country, there must be a particular declaration in the Constitution to say that this is a secular country. And for countries that have declared to be Islamic states, it is obvious you find provisions in their own constitution that clearly declare the state to be an Islamic state or a Sharia state. So the implementation of Sharia in Nigeria is not in any way an unconstitutional act. Yes.
Yes. Your debate about the secularist outlook of Nigeria could be challenged if we looked at the context to which secularism means now, not subject to or bound by religious rule, not subject to or bound by religious rule. Now, if you consider that Nigeria is a heterogeneous country, I believe the question is to the effect that should other populations who do not derive their faith from Islam, as others in the north do, be subject to Sharia law? And northern Nigeria is as heterogeneous as other parts of Nigeria. I believe that's the question, and specifically in relation to Deborah. So should Sharia law have applied to her? I believe that is the context of the question that you should be addressing.
Well, there are two questions. I'm getting to the case of Deborah. The first question is whether, in the light of Section 10, Sharia implementing states are violating the secular nature of Nigeria. That is the first premise, and that was the first question. Now, to the question with respect to the extent of the application of Sharia law, I think there is a lot of misinformation and ignorance of the existing Sharia criminal framework in the states that are implementing Sharia. There are provisos specifically provided that Sharia law is only to apply to those who profess the Islamic faith. It is only where a non-Muslim has given his written consent to be bound by the Sharia penal code that he is to be tried in accordance with Sharia penal code. And the case of Deborah was never tried in accordance with the Sharia penal code of Sokoto state. The way it operates is that from 2000 to date, in the state that are implementing Sharia, there are two criminal codes. There is the penal code laws of northern Nigeria, which has been domesticated by the states, and that applies to those who are not Muslims. And then there is the Sharia penal code that applies only to the Muslims who profess the Islamic faith. No state, in the light of the provisions of Section 38 of the Constitution, is or can subject a non-Muslim to the application and the dictates of the Sharia penal code. So there is a lot of misinformation about how the Sharia codes are applicable in northern Nigeria. You can check the Sharia penal codes did not in Zamfara state, in Kano state, and the other states that are implementing Sharia did not mandate and make the Sharia codes applicable to all that are resident in the states. So it is wrong for anyone to say that the Sharia penal codes, the Sharia laws are applicable to non-Muslims. And in specific reply to the issue of Deborah, I think the Northern Nigerian Penal Code proscribes and punishes blasphemy. And blasphemy, even under the penal code laws of northern Nigeria, and not to talk of even the Sharia penal code, it is a law that is not to be applied by any Tom and Harry, but it has to be in accordance with criminal trials. The Sharia does not allow jungle justice. Sharia does not condone people taking laws into their hands. And I have examples to give. In the nearby state of Kebbi State, sometimes in 2000, I've forgotten the date, but the law report is there. The case of Inshallah against the state. This is even a Muslim that blasphemed our noble prophet, and then he was extrajudicially killed by some Muslims. They were tried, they were convicted, they appealed up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court confirmed their conviction and sentence to death for killing the person that they claim blasphemed. So we should understand that Deborah was never tried in accordance with Sharia code, and Sharia in northern Nigeria is not applicable on all, but only those who profess the Islamic faith and who are not Muslims but have submitted their voluntary written consent.
All right, Prof. So maybe we'll allow you grab some water, but as we wind down, what you're saying in essence is that the Sharia law actually makes provisions for people who commit murder, and in the case of those who killed Deborah, Sharia law prescribes that they should be killed as well. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if they are, I've given you an example. The case of Inshallah and State, the case of Inshallah and State is even a Muslim that blasphemed the noble prophet.
I understand. So I'm saying for those who killed Deborah, they should also be killed under Sharia law, right?
Yes, if they are tried and found guilty, the law will take its course.
Do you think they should be tried?
Inshallah and State.
Prof, do you think they should be tried?
Of course, our criminal law does not give everybody the license, even if a crime is committed, to take the laws into their hands. That is why the criminal justice is there, and even the Sharia, no offense, even outside blasphemy, no offense is given. People are given a blank check to try people and then extrajudicially kill them.
So why were they not tried? Why were they then defended in court instead? Because they weren't tried under Sharia law for the killings, were they? For the killing of Deborah, were they?
Were not defended? What do you mean by the?
So what happened was the case was taken to court, and those who killed Deborah were defended in court instead of being tried under the Sharia law for killing Deborah. If you understand what I mean.
You see, the issue of trial and defense is a matter of the legal profession and the legal practice. In fact, under our laws, no one can be tried for capital offense without legal representation. It happened in Kano, the case of Abdul Jabbar, the case of Abul Inyas. There are also cases of blasphemy. They were defended. They were provided lawyers by the Ministry of Justice, and at times they were provided lawyers by the legal aid. So there are so many criminal cases that are going on.
What I'm saying is they were tried under Nigeria's law, but they weren't tried under Sharia law for killing someone. Is what I'm about. Do you have evidence against that? Were they tried under Sharia law?
Well, you see, if you kill, like I gave you example, the case of Inshallah, and the issue of trial under whatever law is the prerogative of the Attorney General. No one can dictate to the Attorney General of state or the federation under which law to try.
Right.
The Attorney General may well try to prosecute them under the penal code laws of Northern Nigeria, or he may prosecute them under the Sharia penal code. It's the prerogative of the Attorney General, and in fact, the Attorney General has the powers under the Constitution. No amount of interest involved. In any case, the Attorney General can even enter a prosecute, and no one can question his powers to do so. So these are political and constitutional issues that are best answered by the Attorney General as to why they were not tried in accordance with either Sharia penal code law or the penal code. He has the choice.
Well, Prof, clearly this is an ongoing conversation, and it's important to have them so everybody is able to air their opinions and have a greater nation. But we have to thank you so much, Islamic law expert, Bayero University, Kano, Professor Dahiru Usman John.
Oh yes, that is it. Already you all have heard everything the way it is going, and I would like to hear your opinion. What do you think about the whole thing and your questions? And this country we are living, how do you see it? So do you still believe in it, or you don't believe in it? So I would like to hear your opinion, your comment. What do you think about it? Like, subscribe, and make sure you share it to go around. Let others see the things that is happening in the country. We say thank you for watching.